channel. Thank you so much for your patience. Happy New Year. I appreciate you guys so much for bearing with me for the little small break that I took the past 2 months. But now I'm back, so no need to worry. For those of you that are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Rosie. This is my cosmic garden, and typically I just talk about philosophy, esoteric methods, spirituality, and you name it. So if that sounds pretty cool to you, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. All right, so today I just wanted to talk about the healing journey. And I want to share my experience with my healing journey. And of course, we all heal over time. It's not like it's a one and done type of deal. Well, you just heal this one time and then you're good for the rest of your life. Maybe there are some people that are out there that are like that, but I'm not one of them. I don't know if you guys are, and if you're not, then please stay tuned. All right, so I wanted to share 2 books that I've read throughout the years that have really helped me. For those of you that don't know, I actually struggled with severe trauma growing up, and it was a series of trauma. It wasn't just one type of trauma that I had to deal with. So I was diagnosed with complex PTSD a while back ago. I also did have, major depressive disorder, anxiety, you name it. And I did study psychology. I felt like me studying psychology really helped a lot with doing the inner work within myself and also my experience. So I had both. I had the experience of a huge trauma events in my life, plus I studied psychology. So combining the both together really helped me develop myself and also heal. Of course, I'm still healing. Like I said, there's no such thing as just a one and done deal because something else may happen in your life. But hey, at least you'll have the tools in order to be able to go through that hurdle a little more smoother versus, the very first time you experience a traumatic event, you may not really know how to deal with it or how to process it. And most of the time, a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll just throw everything on the back burner. And when you do that, you still have a lot of unresolved issues. So with that being said, there's this one book actually 2 books, that I want to talk about. The first book that I've read, it's called When the Body Says No. And it's the stress disease connection that Dr. Gabor talks about. The second book is called The Body Keeps the Score. Now this book is really good. This is very heavy for people who do have that severe trauma. And even if you don't have severe trauma, let's say you were just in a car accident or something, that could have been a traumatic experience in itself. It doesn't necessarily always have to be abuse or some sort of dark type of trauma that you may have gone through, something taboo or whatever. But anyways, what I like about Dr. Gabor Mate, I have been following him since 2013, listening to a lot of his lectures on, talk radio and then also YouTube. He's written a ton of books, but I won't get into the other books that he's written, at least not today in this video. But what I like about When the Body Says No is because he talks about people who have cancer, chronic illnesses, chronic pain, autoimmune diseases, and he did a study on each and every one of these people, including people with addiction issues. So what he noticed is that a lot of these people are usually the backbone of the family, or they are the ones who are always there for people. Oftentimes these are the type of people that put themselves last. So they go ahead and put other people before them before they help themselves. And what he realized is because of that, it's almost as if you mentally don't want to necessarily, it's not that you don't want to help these people or anything like that. It's just a lot of these people have a hard time saying no. And when you have a hard time saying no, your body feeds off of that. Your body responds off of that. So even if in your mind you're like, you know what, I really don't want to go, but you know what, I'm going to go ahead and go because I promised this person that I would go to their wedding, or I promised this person I would go have coffee with them or babysit or whatever it was that you had originally intended to do, and then now you're kind of backing out, but you go ahead and do it anyway. Your body feeds off of that. There's a response connection that your body has. And usually what that indicates is that, okay, mentally, I really don't want to do this. I want to say no, but physically, I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And usually what that does, it triggers something physically in the body. And it's almost as if you're beating yourself down. Each time you say no, but really you want to say yes, or vice versa, you're giving yourself a beating, a spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical beating. Even though it may not seem that way and it doesn't necessarily always feel that way, but over time it does compound. And usually this will manifest and arise in a form of chronic pain, autoimmune diseases, cancer, inflammation, which is the root of all diseases, according to Dr. Sebi. If you haven't looked him up, make sure you do look him up. He talks a lot about how every disease is the result of inflammation, whether if it's inflammation from the things that we eat, or stressors, or pollutions in the environment, things that we use every day, common household items. Anyways, so yes, so that's what Dr. Gabor Mate talks about. It can come off a little bit controversial, only because what I like about Dr. Gabor Mate is that he is both scientific, medical, but spiritual at the same time. And that's how he makes these connections, and he backs them up with facts and data that he's done himself. Okay. The second book that I wanted to go over is The Body Keeps the Score. And what I really like about this book is that when dealing with trauma, a lot of times we may not necessarily realize that the trauma is still there because it's been so many years, or it's been, however amount of time, and you probably think, oh, it's been 5 years, or it's been 20 years, or it's been 2 months, like I should be over this already, I'm fine. But really, your body remembers all of that. So I want to use a term, it's called muscle memory. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know it, especially, those into fitness and nutrition and all that. So a lot of fitness people, when they say muscle memory, what they're referring to is like when you exercise or when you play sports, and let's say you stop and then you go back at it again, your muscle fibers remember those movements. So it's the same thing with trauma. Let's say if you were in a car accident and you tensed up, or you hit your head against something, your body remembers those motions and those movements. Let's say you were in a other traumatic situation where it involved you having to escape or try to fight someone off of you because they wanted to do something to you, or abuse, or whatever it is, your body remembers all of those things. Please keep in mind that your muscle fibers have receptors, and those receptors are connected to the brain. So there's a connection between the brain, the heart, the body, and also the gut. The gut has receptors. So of course, even if you have it, out of sight, out of mind, guess what? Your body still remembers all of that. And just kind of like how Dr. Gabor Mate was saying that these traumas can manifest, it's the same thing about, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk says, your traumas will manifest physically if you do not deal with them. It doesn't matter how long it's been. If you haven't gone to therapy, if you haven't done anything actively to express yourself and get those emotions out of you, whether it's through meditation, yoga, going to the gym, writing, singing, whatever it is that you can do where you are expressing yourself and you are fully in tune within yourself, that's when you can start doing that inner work. And what this doctor talks about is that it's really, really important to get into some sort of creative outlet. So if you like to sing, if you like to dance, if you like to write music or play music, play the guitar, play on your keyboard, synthesizer, whatever it is, skateboarding, just do something creative where you can get those emotions out. Because at the end of the day, emotions are energy in motion. So therefore, all those emotions that you have in your body stay trapped if you don't do something about it. It's just like Newton's third law. He states, for every action, there's a reaction. So when we're talking about motion and physics, it's the same thing with emotions, because again, emotions are energy in motion. So it's almost like a propellant. It's almost like you want to get these things out of you. And again, Just because in your mind it's out of sight, out of mind, it does not mean that it's not there anymore. It doesn't magically just dissipate and disappear and dissolve, even though that's what we want, right? We want those trapped emotions, we want those trapped traumas and those yucky, icky feeling types of emotions to be gone. But we also have to keep in mind that if we do not deal with them, they will manifest in one form or another. So again, I just want to remind you guys that if anyone out there is having a really hard time, just know that you're not alone. Please. There is help out there. If you have anyone that you can trust, a family member, a friend, or even go to therapy, start small. You don't necessarily have to start big and make it seem like, whoa, like I have so much shit to deal with. I don't know where to start. That's okay too. But just keep in mind, just take baby steps, little things here and there. Maybe eating healthier, taking a little more care of yourself, giving yourself more time to pause. I know in this world, in this society, it's such a producing type of society. It's like if you're not producing, if you're not doing anything, then it's almost frowned upon, especially here in the US. I'm not sure where you guys are from, but at least here in the US, and maybe I'm sure other parts of the world as well, it's frowned upon, for people to take breaks, and it's almost as if you're a machine, but we're not. We are not machines. We are humans. And even though, yes, we are living in a technological era, it's the era of the machine, we ourselves are not machines. So therefore, we must not treat ourselves like a machine. We must treat ourselves with love, with respect, and give ourselves that self-care that we need, whether if it's going to a spa, sleeping in a little if we can, doing yoga, meditation, eating better, saying no. There are different ways that we can do self-care for ourselves. But I just want to remind you guys again, if you are out there and you are having a really hard time, do what you can, do what feels right. Okay, a lot of times, sometimes the answer is within ourselves. I know it sounds cliche and it sounds cheesy, but it's true. Sometimes we already know the answer and we already know what we have to do or what we need to do, but there's this resistance to it because it can be fear-based. If I can share a little bit about myself, growing up, I had severe trauma, and not to delve too much into it. My dad, he was a Vietnam vet, and he had PTSD, and it was very severe. And because of it, he was very abusive. And during that era, there wasn't a lot of help for veterans, especially for mental health. If anything, they thought they were schizophrenic and they went crazy and blah, 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 blah. They didn't really want to deal with them. So help was very limited. And so he took that out on us, on myself and my family. And I got to see a lot, of what he went through because of his flashbacks and the associations that he would make. And when I look back now, it is quite interesting. I have no hate, no resentment or anything. I have, pure love because I understand now. But in that time, when you're going through such trauma, especially at a young age, a lot of the decisions that you make are based upon fear. They're based upon fear because you are living in this fight or flight, or freeze. It's either you fight, you run away, or you freeze. And those responses are very, very, very deep within us. It goes back to, the dinosaur era. Those are very basic instincts that we have within ourselves. When we feel threatened, those are our three responses. Either we run away, we fight back, or we freeze. So I don't want you to feel that your burdens or whatever it is that you're going through, whatever traumas that you have experienced, please just know that you don't have to stay there, so you don't have to freeze, okay? And you don't have to run away. You don't have to keep running, okay? My response a lot of the times, based upon the traumas that I've experienced, and there's much more, I would run. I was more of a runner. You know, if I felt intimidated or if I felt any sense of fear, I would run. That was my instinct. I wouldn't face it, I wouldn't freeze. I would just run, you know. So all I want to tell you is words of encouragement. You know, wherever you are, start small. You know, don't just stay there. Don't just run away. And don't just fight because you're just so scared that you don't even know what you're fighting, to the point where it's like, everyone's the enemy. No, it's not that way. And I really, really, really want you guys to know that it does get better. Things get better. Life will get better. It just takes a lot of time. Whether if you have a chronic illness, you have chronic pain, or you have an invisible illness such as mental health issues or addiction, help is there. And a lot of the times, like I said, the answer is within ourselves. Still go get that help that you need. If you need to go, you know, to a counselor, a therapist, a psychiatrist, do that. But also keep yourself in mind. What is your best interest? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What is it that you want to do? Because a lot of times when people have traumas, it's almost as if you feel like you don't have a choice. But I'm here to tell you that you do have a choice. Okay, so start doing something creative. I dare you. Okay, I challenge you. Start doing something creative, because according to Dr. Bessel Kolk, this is what will help you heal from your trauma, and also connect the associations that are associated with the trauma. You know, like for myself, creative outlets that I like to do, I like to sing, I like to do yoga, I like to dance, I like to meditate, I like to cook, I like to go for walks. Sometimes I will tell people no if I want time for myself, you know. So it's just recognizing what is it that you like, relearning yourself, become curious again, be like a child, and discover, explore. If there's things that you always wanted to do when you were a kid but you didn't get to do for whatever reason, because of financial issues or abusive situations, or you know, you had to be the head of the household at the time, start moving towards steps that will allow you to do the things that you've always wanted to do. And start now, start today. You know, if you always wanted to paint, if you always wanted to write, if you wanted to blog, create a YouTube channel. You know, that's something that I always wanted to do. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have 1 billion followers or if you only have 2. At the end of the day, just use it as an outlet and to your advantage to help yourself, and maybe in turn it'll help other people. Okay, so I love you guys. Thank you guys so much. Again, these are really good books. The Body Keeps the Score. I will leave a link down below. That way you can go ahead and check it out if you'd like, on Amazon, or an audiobook. And of course, When the Body Says No. All right, so I hope you guys found this helpful, and again, please do not give up. I believe in each and every one of you guys. I love each and every one of you guys, and I know that you're gonna get through this. Okay, if I'm able to get through it, I know you guys can. Okay, feel free to message me, reach out, you know, leave comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you guys may have. You can also email me. I have an email link down below, and let's chat. Okay, just know that you're not alone and you can get through this. All right, peace, love, and namaste.